Hey folks, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, home of team triathlon coaching and triathlon's only 30-day free trial. I'm pleased to talk with you a little bit this week about some unique stuff going on inside the house, and I'm also going to talk to at least one question that I got. But before I continue, all of you out there watching, please send your questions. Weekly Q&A at endurancenation.us. That's weekly, the letter Q, the word and the letter A, at endurancenation.us. Hi, Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Can't think of anywhere else you can find this on the web, so please go ahead and take advantage of it. That said, the cool stuff I want to talk about before we get into the nitty-gritty of this week's question is around what's going on inside the house before our big deadline, and that is before May 1st. If you want to be a part of Endurance Nation for 2009, you have to create your 30-day free trial to get things started. That's right, we coach you for 30 days before we start anything else, before we charge you any money. Please come check it out. Not like those sketchy coaches that say, please pay me $300 for 3 months of training, and then you'll see your results. I guarantee you're going to see results in 4 weeks, and if you don't think you like it, then it doesn't cost you a penny. You're out, okay? It's all about you. It's all about you. It's not about me. It's all about you, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So a lot of cool stuff going on inside the house this past weekend. 25th, 26th of April of 2009, we had our very first Madison team-organized camp with over 20 people coming together and even flying Coach Rich out there to do some training on the Ironman Wisconsin course. We also had a couple local rides here in Massachusetts and some folks racing as well, doing some of their first road races of the year. Major points to all of you doing so well. Please continue to post your results to the data tool. It all now shows up on our homepage. We've got this nifty little widget, little box on the homepage. Go over to endurancenation.us, and you'll see right there you can find latest pictures, latest results, podcasts, everything right there. So please go ahead and check that out. And if you continue to post the information, well, we can make you famous for a day. Can't promise anything beyond that. The rest of it's up to you, but I can put you on that page. So please continue to post your results. So excited to see people doing so well this early in the year. Just awesome. So this week's question from an athlete who just returned from Ironman New Zealand, and after a great result, she was out testing after about a month of resting and light work. And she did a bike threshold test, and her heart rate numbers, she did a power test on the bike, but her heart rate numbers were off the charts. And she races on day with a combination of power and heart rate. And typically she puts a little more weight on the heart rate than on the power. And in this particular example, this test after her race, her heart rate was about 15 beats higher than it had been previously. In other words, she really experienced a different heart rate scenario that she'd ever seen before. And she was a little bit faster, and she was basically emailing me to ask if she'd been sandbagging for the last 2 years. Now, if you knew who this person was, you'd be laughing because, of course, like most of you, she's one of the hardest working people that I know. And so the idea of her actually sandbagging a workout is a little suspect. Excuse me. But that said, it does bring up an interesting conundrum. Inside our world, inside Endurance Nation, we focus a lot on the power and pace metrics. But at the end of the day, the heart rate is a valuable number. The way that I like to think about it is trust and then verify. So we look at the power and the pace data, and I trust it. But I verify with the heart rate. So I'm not saying take your heart rate monitor and throw it away or burn it or put it on the stake somewhere or anything like that. I'm just saying heart rate is valuable, but is not as valuable a real-time metric as power or pace. So we look at those numbers. And if those numbers are different and the heart rate number is different, then I say, yes, that different heart rate number has some substance because we're seeing different outputs from the work your body's doing. I see you traveling at a different speed. But if those numbers remain the same, if those power pace metrics remain the same, but your heart rate's whack, then I look at it as an environmental issue. Maybe it's hotter. Maybe you're still not recovered from your big race and the travel associated with it, given it was in New Zealand. Whatever the case may be. So you need to kind of put those heart rate numbers within the context of saying, how rested am I? What were the conditions like? How hydrated was I, etc. And you know, fudging it, all things being equal, how close is this result to the result I'd seen before? If you end up, basically emailed her back and told her this, if you test again, but you get the same power numbers, the same distance covered for your time, the same pace, but your heart rate number is whack, then there's a recovery issue or an environmental issue going on. But if that heart rate number is whack, and we also see you traveling further than you ever have during a test, then I say, hey, you obviously can do more than you were testing before. We need to reevaluate how we put testing in your program to make sure that you're training with the optimal metrics for your body, not simply training to a number that was generated when you were filled with a bit more fatigue, per se. As we move through the season inside Endurance Nation, we definitely get away from repeat testing and move more to the endurance work and managing how you are able to be active inside that endurance space. And so during the season, the importance of testing wanes a bit because we spend much more of our time focusing on the volume and taking that fast that you built, that precise, tested, measured fast, driving that into the endurance side of things. And so that becomes our focus, and you can start to use the data from your cumulative workouts to get a sense for, is this threshold about right? Is this pace number about right? So testing is important. The heart rate information is useful, but it's definitely not the be-all. So hopefully that was helpful. For the rest of you out there, please go ahead, send me your questions. Weekly Q&A at EnduranceNation.us. Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation. Happy to answer them. Be safe out there. Be smart. And I will see you guys online.